All right, I'm gonna try to get this fairly close so I can read people's comments and stuff, but I'm gonna wait till a couple people get on here. Just trying to get stuff organized. I got my classic tomorrow, so biggest tournament of the year, 2-day classic tomorrow and Sunday. And, you know, my last tournament wasn't very good. I didn't catch them like I wanted to. That was just one of those deals. Things happened. It was super, super tough. I actually expect the fishing to be better tomorrow. I hope so anyway. And we're just going to get things prepped. We got to get things ready for tomorrow. And, you know, I might go out on the water this afternoon just to check one little thing. But I don't know. I don't know. You know, I didn't go purposely. I did not go and pre-fish for this tournament, which might seem crazy because I went and pre-fished for every other tournament this year, literally. So why wouldn't I pre-fish for the Classic? And that's because this is on a body of water. It's on the Chowan River somewhere where I fished all my life, literally all my life. And I just, I didn't want to go and mess myself up with any like preconceived notions. I didn't want to like go and just not get on a good bite, or maybe the bite that I thought should be happening maybe wasn't happening so much. And then I end up just completely messing myself up. And I wanted to make sure that I did not let that happen. So I made the choice to not go out and fish. That might end up biting me in the butt, but I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I'm not worried about catching fish. I fished it all my life. I basically know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to really prepare for anything. Really, I'm going to prep for anything. So any kind of bite that they want to be on, I'm going to be ready for it. It's just a matter of, you know, Carolina has a 14-inch size limit, so you got to catch quality fish. Not to mention, this is a 2-day tournament, you know, so you got to catch fish back to back. Now, in my past history, I've done very, very good fishing 2-day tournaments. I've always been a pretty consistent angler and been able to catch them pretty good 2 days in a row. You know, the thing is, you got to have 2 good days in a row. You can't just have one good day and then fall off on the second day. You really have to have 2 good days. So that's what I got to have. That's what I got to have. I got to have 2 good days, but we're gonna grab, I need one thing out of here real quick. And we got a frog tied on. I'm gonna draw his little legs on there with a Sharpie. Thank you, John. Hopefully things work out. Hopefully things work out. Like I said, last tournament was a little bit tough, but that's fishing. That's fishing, and we're getting ready. Like I said, we're gonna be ready for anything. I think I know somewhat what these fish are gonna be doing. I have a good idea, but I did not want to just go today or yesterday or whatever and completely mess up my, you know, my pattern that I think I want to run. This is the time of the year when, you know, things should be good. Things should be good. And of course, y'all know I'm going to have the frog tied on. So that's rod number 1. We got that ready to go. We're going to go ahead. We're going to go through all of my rods. We're going to go through all my rods, and basically we're going to have everything rigged up. Fresh line, everything. So a lot of my stuff doesn't need fresh line, actually. But all right, so this rod, let's see. I got to do a little bit of retying here on this one. This is the flipping setup. Lose TP2. Pretty much all my rods are to lose TP2s. Great rods if you have not checked them out, but great rods. Yes, this is a single man tournament. So this is our classic for the Southeastern Bass Series, which is a single man club. So all the tournaments that you saw me fish throughout the year were all single man. That's why I was fishing them by myself. And the classic is a single man tournament as well. So yes, it is a single man tourney. But we're gonna get the good old rage bug retied. Y'all know I love my rage bug, and I'm really hoping to be able to catch some fish on it for sure. And I know I'd posted earlier that I was gonna start this live at 12 o'clock. I had to run to town and get some stuff, and I got a little bit behind, but we're up here now. We're up here now getting things ready. But we're gonna get this tied on. And what I'm hoping is that I can basically go and figure out the bite pretty quick. So in other words, the first place I go, the first shoreline I pull up on, I already know where that's going to be. You know, I'm hoping the fish are going to be biting and I can catch some fish kind of quick. That's always something that you want to be able to do in a tournament, is get on a bite quick. Because whenever you can get on a bite quick and get your confidence up and get fish in the live well early, it makes a really, really big difference. So we got a rage bug tied on, got 20-pound test fluorocarbon on there. So we're ready to go on that. That's set up right there. And got that rigged up on a 3/8 ounce tungsten. I'm hoping that bad boy right there is going to put in work for us tomorrow. Definitely going to rely on the rage bug. Y'all know I always do. So we're gonna rely on that. Next up, definitely a bait that will probably get thrown tomorrow. It would be awesome if it didn't have to get thrown, but that's the ChatterBait. This is the chartreuse and white thunder cricket right here. This is one of my favorite ones. It's the gold blade. So this is the thunder cricket with they have a gold blade edition. And I really, really like a gold blade. A lot of people will say, well, why do you like a gold blade over a silver blade when most of the time where you're fishing, the shad or silver, they're putting off silver reflections and all. So why would you go with a gold blade? A lot of people only think of using a gold blade when the water is muddy, but the silver blade, especially like in a river, they eat a lot of perch and they eat a lot of brim and things like that, and they put off kind of a goldish color. And I think a lot of times that's where the gold comes into play. There's gold shiners, and also just to me sometimes that gold is a little bit different color than what they're used to seeing. So a lot of times maybe they're used to seeing, the silver reflection from a shiner or, a minnow or shad or something like that. And I think that gold gives them a little bit different look, a little bit something different, a little bit different flash coming through the water. And I think sometimes that can actually help out the bite actually. So we're just going through and retying pretty much everything. This setup right here, I have 15-pound test P-Line C21 on my ChatterBait setup, and I throw that on a slow gear ratio, so a 5:6:1 gear ratio reel. I really, really like a slow gear ratio, and I'm going to be throwing around the base of cypress trees tomorrow, cranking this thing nice and slow. I'm going to be fishing some flats, just a bunch of different stuff. There's a lot of different areas where a ChatterBait can really come into play, where out there on the Chowan. So we're definitely going to have that up on the deck and ready to rock. You never know when a good ChatterBait bite is going to be going down. So We got that one right there ready to go. And that has the mock little paddle tail swim bait on the back right there. It has a really, really thin tail, so it gives it a lot of action. And if I want to keep it up higher in the water column, and I may end up doing this as you know, as the day goes on, or I may switch it right off the bat when I start fishing, but I might put a Rage Menace grub on there. A Menace grub has two twin tail trailers, so to keep it up in the water column a little bit better. So what knots am I tying? So I'm actually tying a clinch knot. So for my flipping stuff, I'll show y'all real quick, but I'm gonna get right in, tie on another buzz bait. This one, the frame on it's a little bent and all, so I'm gonna tie, but this is gonna be everything that I throw on braid, I tie a Palomar knot. So the Palomar knot is what I use when I'm tying a lure on when I'm using braid. It's always a Palomar knot. So I'm going to tie one of those on for y'all right here in a second. I'm going to put a brand new buzz bait on. This one right here is pretty beat up. So we're going to put a new one on. And we're going to go ahead. I had to go to the store today and buy me some new toads, just in case this bite is really going on good. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be, I don't know. We're going to definitely try to figure it out, and we're definitely going to throw this for sure. But anytime I use braid, I always use a Palomar. You know, it's one of those knots that it can't slip, it can't come loose or anything like that. It's going to be solid, and it's like the perfect knot for braid. Now, a lot of times I don't throw it with well, I will use it on copolymer, but fluorocarbon, I won't use it because the knot does cinch down on itself and kind of pinches itself, and a lot of times what it'll end up doing is breaking the line. So I don't like using it when I'm using fluorocarbon. So when I'm flipping, have a flipping bait on there or tying on a hook for flipping, when I have fluorocarbon, I use a clinch knot. A clinch knot, you know, wraps around itself. It really doesn't cinch down on itself, so it will break easy. So that's super, super important. But once again, on my buzzbait, gold blade. I love that gold blade right there. Got the white toad on there, and we're just hoping that bad boy right there is going to do it for us, you know. Definitely going to be throwing that for sure. There's a lot of baits that I'm going to be throwing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. The Chowan River is so diverse. It has, you know, cypress trees. It has offshore structure. You can catch them on top water. You can catch them on moving baits. You can catch them just about a ton of different ways, but there's always going to be a predominant pattern no matter what. Just like anywhere else, it's always going to be a predominant pattern. So we just got to figure out that pattern fairly early. And, you know, and something else, on Sunday, the wind is actually supposed to change directions and be blowing out of the east. So it's actually probably going to change the bite a little bit. So, you know, it kind of, I don't really know what that might change. It might not change anything, but a lot of times when the wind blows out of the east, it can make the fishing a little bit tougher. It can change the bite, and it can make the fishing a little bit tougher. So as far as my toads go, black and white. That's it. Very, very simple, very straightforward. For my buzzbait, it's black and white, you know. So I always start off with white. If I feel like they're not biting it quite as good as I feel like they should be, or maybe they're rolling on it and not eating it super good, I will go to black. You know, I always start off with white though, and then I, you know, kind of revert back to black and see which one they're biting the best. But it's white or black. I keep it very, very simple when it comes to my buzz baits. And I think a lot of times simplicity is key in bass fishing, because it's so easy to get it's so easy to, you know, get carried away with all these different colors. And I did it when I was younger as well. I've got boxes of plastics, just tons of different colors. But, you know, day in and day out, they're going to bite a white toad and they're going to bite a black toad, or they're going to, you know, bite a green pumpkin crawl, or they're going to bite a black and blue crawl or a blue crawl. It's just, you know, the more you make things more complicated, the tougher it's going to be on you, and the harder it is going to be to make choices when you're out on the water. So I try to keep it as simple as I can. So next up. All right, next up. So we got, this is my jig rod. Once again, this is a Lew's TP2, 7-foot medium heavy. We got a jig tied on here, blue crawl jig right there. And I'm actually going to take this off. I'm actually going to take this off, and I'm going to put, let's see, I think I'm going to put, do I want to put line on this reel? I think this is, no, I didn't put line. This line is pretty new. Let me make sure I'm right on that. Yeah, the line's pretty new. I haven't used this one a lot in my jig setup, but I'm definitely going to have a jig tied on for tomorrow. But it's not going to be the green pie. I love this jig for skipping. This is the Strike King skipping jig, and it has a scound bug crawl on there as a trailer. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dig in my front rod locker here, and we're going to get a bitsy flip out. So I'm going to get a bitsy flip jig, small compact jig, and we're going to get that tied on and get a trailer on there. So let's get in here. This front bait locker right here is an absolute mess. I've got to go through that and get that straightened up, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna go through that and get that straightened up before the day is over with. I got some trash in here that I got to get out, but this is what we're gonna go with right here, the black and blue bitsy flip. So we're gonna get that tied on the jig setup. And if you've never used a Strike King bitsy flip, this is an awesome little jig. An awesome little jig. Look how small and compact that jig is right there. That black and blue. And this is a 3/8 ounce right here. So 3/8 ounce bitsy flip. We're going to get this tied on. Ooh, there's a hornet right there. I might not want to move. Okay, whew, he's flying on to the woods. I was like, last thing I want to do is get stung by a hornet right now. That would suck. But we're tying this on with a clinch knot. And what I like to do with this 20-pound test fluorocarbon is I like to give it about 8 wraps. So I just count them. I like to do 8. And then we come on through right here through the bottom loop. Come through there. Give it a little moisture. And bam. There we are. So we got that bad boy tied on nice and tight. And what we're going to do, we're going to use or put on for a trailer on this is, let's find my cross. I think they're right here. Yeah. All right, so we're actually going to put, I want a sapphire blue or we might end up putting a black and blue scound bug on here. There we go, sapphire blue. Is that what I want? Yeah. All right. So we're going to go with a sapphire blue trailer right there. Good old sapphire blue. And I'm going to tell you what, this makes for a deadly combination on the river. Whenever if you're fishing somewhere that has dark water, so if you're like, you have dark, just tannic water, if you're down in Florida, or if you're on a river with super dark water, that blue right there, that sapphire or emerald blue or the swamp water blue, like y'all always see me use in the rage bug, that is an absolute catcher. Now, a lot of you all are probably wondering why I didn't put on the swamp water blue rage bug to start off with tomorrow. And that's just, I got a hunch. That's all. Got a little hunch that maybe the blue crawl is going to be dialed a little bit better in the morning. It's just a little hunch. But look at that bad boy right there. Woo! That is a catcher. That is a catcher. I'm telling you, get you some bitsy flips. Them things absolutely catch them. And something else too, if you're going to buy tackle, or if you need to buy some tackle, I don't have it linked like on this live, but if you look at my last video or any of my most recent videos, there's a Bass Pro link. If you go down in the description, if you click on that link, it'll take you to Bass Pro Shops, and any gear you order supports the channel. So in other words, I get a little commission, off of whatever you purchase. So I appreciate it if you do click on that link and save that link, bookmark it or anything. And any Lose gear you buy, any Strike King, I mean, anything, like any brand, it doesn't even matter. It helps support the channel. So just letting y'all know that. But Bitsy Flip, locked in right there. I think I got a tractor getting ready to come in the field beside us. So you might hear a little noise from that, but shouldn't be too bad. But next up right here, probably going to catch a fish on this bad boy. Strike King spinnerbait right here. Always an absolute catcher. In the fall, everybody knows in the fall that spinnerbaits catch them, right? Spinnerbait's one of those baits where no matter what, you're going to catch fish on it. It's just a solid bait. And all I'm going to do, my line's good on this. All I'm going to do is retie this on there. And this is the 3/8 ounce, the Tour, Strike King Tour spinnerbait right here. And this is actually considered a finesse spinnerbait. It has a little bit smaller profile to it. But this is on P-Line C21 copolymer 15-pound test as well. And I have that on the Pros Tournament MP reel in a 5:6 to 1 gear ratio. So once again, another slow gear ratio. Another slow gear ratio. I like that slow gear ratio when we're talking about a spinnerbait. So we're gonna have some trash to pick up. Yeah, there's a tractor coming in the field behind me. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if they're gonna, I think it's too early for them to pick the peanuts. They've turned the peanuts over, but I think they're doing something. Doing something out there. But we're gonna get this tied on right here. Definitely might throw the spinnerbait on some flats. Probably gonna throw it around some trees, a little bit, around some cypress trees. Really, I always use a statement, I try to listen to the bass. So all I'm saying is I want to get some bites on a certain bait or in a certain area, and I want to use what I learned from that bite or from that fish biting to figure out my game plan and how I'm going to go throughout the rest of the day. So, see, where am I fishing? I'm fishing on the Chowan River. Our tournament is out of the Chowan. It's our 2-day classic. So it's our 2-day classic. This is the final tournament of the year, the biggest tournament of the year. And I'm just prepping for it and just trying to get ready, just trying to be, in the right mindset, have a good positive mindset. I need 2 good days of fishing, 2 good bags of fishing. I won out there earlier this year in our tournament we had on the Chowan, had almost 20 pounds. And, you know, if I could have a day like that and then another solid day, then I would be in good shape, you know. But I really think it's going to take some weight. I think these fish are really going to be biting. And I think I'm going to need like 15-ish pounds a day, you know, which is not easy to do at all. And so I'm going to have to put my head down and fish hard, you know. But that's that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to roll. So let's see. We're going to get, this is something that I don't want to throw if I don't have to, but the good old jerkbait. So we're going to have a jerkbait tied on. You never know. Might get on a little offshore deal or something. And we're going to have the jerkbait tied on. I'm going to take this one off and I'm going to tie a new one on here. Different color. This is my old Strike King strobe shad. I had this tied on for when I was fishing Gaston. But that is the first Strike King strobe shad that I ever bought years and years ago. It's so faded that there isn't hardly any chartreuse on the belly anymore. But that strobe shad and that Strike King, that KVD Deep 300, that is an absolutely awesome jerkbait. And I don't know if any of y'all remember seeing that video I did this spring where I caught them on the jerkbait. I had 30 something pounds, I think. 28 pounds. I don't remember. I can't remember what it was. It was a big bag. Had over a 7-pounder. But anyway, caught them all on the jerkbait. Caught them all on the jerkbait. Yeah, I know. I saw that they're having a tournament there as well. So it's going to be a little bit busy, you know, especially on Saturday, on tomorrow. You know, we're fishing out there Sunday too. But yeah, you know, the Chowan's a big place. So hopefully it doesn't get too crowded, but there's definitely going to be some specific areas that I want to fish where I really hope that there's not going to be anybody on, but we're just going to have to work around it. You know, we're going to have to work around it. But, you know, we'll see what's going down, and we'll make a decision and determine where we want to go. But hopefully it won't be too busy. But we're going to get another jerkbait tied on here. But yeah, I heard, I just found out like last week that they were having another tournament out there. And, you know, I was like, dang, man, you know, it just, all it does, it's nothing terrible, but all it does is just some areas might get, some key areas for me might have people on them. One thing I've definitely noticed since doing YouTube, I'm doing this YouTube thing now for almost 6.5 years. And one thing I've noticed is, you know, it's hard to keep things secret when you're putting anything and everything out on the internet. And a lot of my spots that I had secret for years and years and years and won a lot of tournaments off of and stuff, well, they're pretty identifiable on video, and unfortunately a lot of them I don't have to myself anymore. And that's, you know, that's okay, but it also kind of hurts you a little bit, you know, in tournament scenarios. It does kind of suck a little bit, but you know what, that's all right. Everybody's got to fish the same water. Everybody's got to fish the same deal, same situation. So we're just going with it. We're going to go with it and see what we can make happen, and hopefully catch a giant bag. And we'll go from there. But jerkbait tied on, got the jerkbait set up, ready to go. Definitely hope I don't have to throw that tomorrow. If I have to throw that tomorrow, things aren't quite going the way that I want them to. So let's see, last weekend got canceled. Me and the wife, we're gonna fish it, but it got you. Okay, get more salty in the fall or rivers coastal. typically they don't get too salty. They actually get saltier in the summer. So when we don't get a lot of rain and what's that tractor doing? He's like rolling the peanuts over. But typically they get saltier in the summer when it doesn't rain and there's not a lot of flow. And so it gets a little saltier then, but once we get a decent outflow of current, they're okay. You know, they're okay. So let's see. What do we got here? All right, we can take this rod out. I'm not gonna throw an A-rig tomorrow. Not gonna do that. We got spinning set up here. So we got a wacky stick bait right there. Got that tied on. I'm not gonna do any retying or anything like that for that setup. I just tied that on, fresh setup on the other day, so we're good with that. Football jig, probably not gonna throw that, but I got it in the boat if I do need it, but probably not gonna throw it. But got that set up, got that tied on, good to go. I may end up throwing that. I don't know, probably not. If I'm throwing that, I'm telling y'all things didn't work out the way I wanted them to. All right, here we got a drop shot. Definitely do not want to be throwing a drop shot tomorrow, but we got it tied on. It's going to be in the boat just in case, but definitely do not want to be throwing that. Stuck that hook in my finger. That felt great. Drop shot. That's, my finger might be the only thing that's going to catch. All right, so square bill. Let's get this up and out of here. All right, so I forgot to put my bait cover on my square bill. Got a little hung up there, but let's get this, because I'm probably going to put a different square bill on here. So I got this bluegill colored. It's a really good square bill, but not the one that I want to have tied on tomorrow. Yeah, I've caught some fish on the drop shot and the Chowan. I know the bad boys will get around them trees, and you can catch them on it for sure, and catch some big fish too. It's just not what I want to be. I'm not saying I'm not gonna throw it. It's just not what I want to be throwing. If you know what I mean on that. Just not what I want to be throwing. But I tell you, I'll throw anything I gotta throw, because tomorrow it's all or nothing. You know, it's all or nothing. This is for everything. So let's see here. I grabbed the wrong crankbait box. There we go. That's the one I want. Let's see which one. Which one we're gonna tie on. All right. We're going with that bad boy right there. This is like a blue crawl. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's like a blue crawl crankbait right there. This is a Mega Bass Griffin, I believe that's what it is. But this one is actually painted by Tiger's Custom Crankbaits. So it's a really good color, and it's a KO. It's not an actual Mega Bass Griffin, but this is a the knockoff, the KO as they call it, but they use really good blanks. But like I said, that's Tiger crankbaits. That's the people that paint them and sell them, and they're really good. It's called a S crank. Okay, gotcha. The Griffin might be a different. I think that might be a different crankbait. S crank is right. You're correct on that. You're correct on that. I appreciate you. Appreciate you getting me straight. I'm not well versed on a lot of the mega bass stuff. I don't use a lot of it. Of course, I know the Vision 110 and all, but I do know that this crankbait is good. Has a fat body, wide wobble to it. I really like it. But that is it right there. I wanted something with a little bit different profile than just a regular like 1.5 crankbait. So we got that right there locked down. That's on the TP2, the 7-foot medium TP2. This is a moderate action. This is a blended composite rod, that TP2 right there. So really good ride, loads up really deep. And yep, so we got that crankbait right there tied on. And we just went through all the rods in the rod locker. And that is an awesome paint job, I'm telling you. It's but like I said, Tiger crankbaits are the people that paint them. That's the company. And that it's like that blue crawl color. So it's like that blue crawl color, like I throw my jigs and my rage bugs and all on in the Chowan and a ton of other places as well. And it's kind of that color. So it's an awesome, awesome crankbait color. But we got the shaky head, that's tied on right there. That's going to be in here. Definitely not something I want to throw once again, but we'll have it ready if we got to. This is my Minna shaking rod. Probably going to take that out. Got a bunch of trash in here. So, all right, so the rods are pretty well organized. So we're going to get all the rod covers back on them, and we're going to get some stuff put up. And I want to make sure that I have enough 3/8 ounce tungsten. I think I do. Let's see. Should have enough right here. Yeah, okay. So we're going to make sure we got everything ready to go. So I'm not like scrambling and looking for stuff. You know, you never want to do that in a tournament. You want to have everything pretty well ready. Want to have everything ready. So we got our 3/8 ounce weights put in there. We got our hooks ready to go. Got plenty of our owner hooks in there that I use for flipping. We're just going to get this bag right here, and we're going to put our trash in it. Our loose line, if I can grab it. Just the main thing is in a tournament, when you go into a tournament and prepare for a tournament, you just want to have everything don't have to be perfect, like completely clean and all of that, like absolutely perfect. But one thing I found is having a nice organized boat does make a big difference in how well you can fish, because you're not scrambling around and not knowing where stuff is and looking for stuff and this, that, and the other. You know, having everything together and kind of knowing where everything is a huge advantage, you know. And that's one thing that I've noticed for me is just having the boat somewhat in order and kind of knowing where everything is and what you want to fish with is, and not having to just scramble around and look for stuff and all. It makes a big difference when you kind of know you know, where your stuff is, and you know what you're looking for, and you know kind of where you can go and grab it. In other words, you're not searching around, because whenever you get like kind of high strung, and you know you can't find something or whatever, it can mess up your fishing. Like it can make you not think maybe as clear as you should, and your fishing's not as good as it should be, and stuff like that. And you don't want to get like that. You don't want to get like that. So let's see, we're gonna put on a popper, and let me tell y'all what, we're gonna go old school. We going old school confidence bait. I'm gonna show y'all something. Truthfully, probably nobody else in the world has one of these. I'm not even exaggerating. These were some handmade lures that I bought from my old store that was shutting down. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen Guggen Squad frogs that have "Eat Me" like wrote on top of them. They say "Eat Me." Well, funny story is I've been doing that for a long time. I've wrote "Eat Me" on the back of Bangalores and stuff from over 20 years ago. And this is an old popper, super old popper. I'm going to show it to y'all. I've caught some absolute giants on this thing, and look at what I have wrote on the back of it. "Eat Me." I would write it in permanent marker, and this writing has been on there for years and years and years. And look, you can see why I drew black on the side. Y'all look at the side of that popper. The eyeballs have fallen out of it. I stuck some old eyes in it. I mean, we're talking old school. Old school. And that thing right there will catch some fish. But we're not going to tie on that color. We're going to tie on a different color. And I'm going to show y'all what one that is right here. This one right here. We're going old school. Same popper, same guy made it. Not exactly sure. No brand. I have no clue. No clue about it. But this thing right here, I bet you nobody else makes them. And I've caught a lot of, look at this lip. Look at the front lip from where I've caught so many bass on it. I'm trying to see if y'all can see that. Look at that front lip. From the lips and the teeth of the bass tearing up the lip. I mean, this is old. I've had this popper for like over 20 years. It would really break my heart. Am I going to clean out the trash in my live well? Guess what? There's no trash in it. There's no trash in it, Larry. So you're going to be disappointed when you see me open it up and there's no trash in it. I cleaned it out. So, yep, no trash. But that's what happens when you fish all the time. The live well kind of becomes a trash can, and then I forget about it. And then on tournament day, when I go to throw fish in there, I'm like, oh my God, like there's so much, and it's like bottles floating in there. It's not like trash, but it can get a little messy in there. But that's funny you say that, Larry, because it is cleaned out. It is cleaned out. So we're tying a loop knot on the front of this popper right here. So we'll come back down and through. All right, so we got a loop knot tied. This right here, y'all can see the loop knot right there. That allows this bait to walk much better and move a lot more freely. I really like, there's only a couple things that I tie this loop knot on, and that's, I really like to use it for a popper. I like to use it for a walking bait, and I also like to use it for my jig head minnow. And the jig head minnow, is, you know, one of those baits that's very controversial. I don't like throwing it either, but it does catch fish. But you never know. This old boy right here might, and this actually had Eat Me wrote on the back of it at one time, but it's faded off. But this thing is loaded up with bass scratches. I mean, y'all can see it's been chewed on. You've maybe even never seen this bait on the channel. I don't even know if I've thrown this in I don't know how long, but I saw it in the box the other day, and it's one of those baits where you're like, you know what? Yep, this is gonna happen. But that's one right there, brim colored. That's definitely gonna be on the deck tomorrow morning for sure. So that's the last bait that I had to tie on. So we're gonna get into the organization phase, and we're gonna make sure that we have everything stored. So I just cut off this plopper, and we're gonna put this right here. So we're gonna get this put in here. Jig, got a couple jigs right here that I need to put in my jig box. Let's see, this crank right here. I don't know if y'all can see that tractor going back there behind me. He's turning over these peanuts a little bit more to help them dry. Just getting good thing I haven't cleaned my boat yet because it is dusty. He's kicking up a lot of dust right there. But we're gonna get our bait wrap put on here. These things are pretty dang awesome for keeping your baits from getting all hung up. They do really keep your baits from getting tangled up and those treble hooks getting stuck in everything. But we are, let's see, let's get these jigs put in here. Let me make sure that I have plenty of bitsy flips. Looks like I have plenty. Yeah. Yep, plenty of bitsy flips. Skipping jigs. Probably not gonna need the skipping jigs tomorrow, but that's how I keep my jigs, is in an old screw box right there. This is where I built my pool deck. Hopefully that tractor's not too loud back here behind me, but this is what the screws came in that I built my pool deck with, and it's a perfect little container that I keep my jigs in. I also use one for keeping my new spinnerbaits in and chatterbaits as well. So now we're going to get our lures a little bit organized, and I just want to make sure my mic is still good. Just somebody comment and just let me know if my mic is still good and y'all are hearing me clearly. I just want to make sure it don't die on me. I got another one in case this one does. But now we're going to go through our baits, and this is how I store my lures right here, my soft plastics. I store them in these Bass Pro bags right here, and they're waterproof and they have a zipper on top of them, which is really good. So these are really nice, and they're a lot better than like regular Ziploc bags. Like I used to use gallon Ziploc bags and all, because they would get like really you know, just torn up and just messed up basically. But they are really nice. So if you want to get some, like I said, go check out my other videos and check that link. You know, down in the description of my other videos, and click on that Bass Pro link and go get you some, along with getting you some good old rage bugs. A lot of people wonder how I store my rage bugs, and the way I do it is I take these out of the clamshell and I put them in a quart Ziploc bag. So it does not mess up the rage bugs. It does not deform them or make them like messed up or wonky or anything like that. I've done this for years and years, and it doesn't mess them up. You know, the clamshell packaging is really nice for keeping them straight, you know, in the store and giving them a really good appearance and all. But I take them out of the clamshell and I put them in a quart Ziploc bag because I use a lot of rage bugs. Y'all know I use a lot of rage bugs. And I just like to go ahead and get them out of the clamshell and get them put in a quart Ziploc bag. So I just dump them out in my hand just like that. Those beautiful blue crawl rage bugs, and bam, I got a bag full of rage bugs right there, and we are locked and ready to go for tomorrow. And of course, as well, I have a bag full of swamp water blues. Very, very likely that I will use those tomorrow as well. Probably going to switch back and forth a little bit, just kind of figure out which one they're biting the best. That's kind of what we gotta do. This is my bag that I got from my horny toads that I use for my buzz bait. This is my swim baits right here. So I know I got some swim baits laying around that I gotta get put back in the package. That mock player right there, that swim bait, that mock player in Tennessee shad, one of my favorites. That thing is good. That thing is good. But we're gonna get, what is this bag? This is crawls. So we got our rage scound bug. Gonna get them put in there. Get all this stuff put up. I got all my toads up front. I think where I've been doing my videos and stuff, I got stuff kind of slung all over the place. I'm just trying to make sure that I got everything right. Got some extra spinnerbaits here. That's trash right there. What are these? Rage bug, swamp water blue. Okay, so we're gonna put down in the swamp water blue package right here. Got plenty of swamp water blues ready for tomorrow. All right, so this is where I like to keep my extra buzz baits and stuff, extra frogs. You can see this is slam full. Brand new. This is why I like to put my brand new stuff in the packages. In other words, I like to keep them in here, you know, because my spinnerbaits and stuff, I don't like to take them out of the pack until I'm going to use them. I think they end up getting bent up. They end up just getting messed up and don't work quite as good. So I like to keep them in these Bass Pro bags. Like I said, these things are really big, so you can put a lot of stuff in them. A lot of stuff. So this right here is Cincos and basically straight tail worms, like trick worms. These are going to go in here. Cincos in here. I hope I don't have to throw no Cinco tomorrow, but I will if I got to. I should be fishing today. The only reason, let me see, Daniel Ryan said, me too, shame. Oh, how long did that frog ride with you the other day? Oh, that frog rode with me all the way back to the ramp. And I'm going to tell you a funny story. I've got still shots of that frog flying out of that fish's mouth. Me and my wife looked at him last night. It is absolutely hilarious. But that frog rode with me all the way back to the ramp, and my wife brought me a container, and I put the frog in the container, brought it home for my kids to look at it, and we kept it here for like a couple hours, and then we took it out back and let it go, and it hopped off perfectly fine. I think it was stunned from being in the fish's mouth. It was just all just out of it, and it finally got his mess together. But that was one of the craziest things ever. I mean, that was so crazy. And the video of it flying out of his mouth and the still shots are absolutely hilarious. So that is going to be in my upcoming frog versus buzz bait video. So I was doing a video, frog versus buzzbait. Absolutely awesome video. It is going to be a banger. It was so fun to film. It was so crazy. Everything that happened yesterday was just nuts. It was just a crazy, crazy video. If tomorrow in the tournament things can be as crazy as they were yesterday for that film session, it would be absolutely amazing. But hopefully things work out, you know. If they do, they do. If they don't, you know what? That's just the way it is. That's the way it is. I used to have bad days on the water. I'd get all upset about it and you name it. And I can tell you, that does nobody any good. I'm going to keep a positive attitude, whether I'm catching 20 pounds or whether I'm catching 0 pounds. It's not worth it to get upset and get all tore up over losing a fish or not catching fish or whatever. You got to remain positive, because as fishermen, things can happen really quick and you can catch a limit super quick. You can catch a limit in, I mean, 5 fish and 5 casts. You never know what is going to happen. You just never ever know. And that's why I like to keep my mindset. That's where I like to keep it. So that's the frame of mind that we're going to have tomorrow, and we're going to have a good time on the water, and hopefully everybody's safe and has a good day as well. And I hope everybody catches them. I hope we're all coming in there dropping limits. I just hope maybe mine just are a little bit bigger. That's all. That is all. All right. Let's get down in this compartment here. See what we got. A little bit more trash. We clean out right there. Got another new frog, another new spinnerbait, and then I got a few mock schoolers to put in this pack. Let me see, what am I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss any of these comments. That's a crazy looking bug right there. Yep. Good luck tomorrow. I hope I do. Charles, I hope I do. So yeah, Shane, you know, I wasn't always like that. Trust me. I've fished my first ever bass tournament when I was 10 years old. I'm 41 now, just a few days from being 42. And I used to get, man, I'd get tore all to pieces if I lost a big fish or something happened that you know caused me to lose. There's been so many tournaments where I had the winning fish on and stuff like that through the years, and I lost them, and it just, I mean, it doesn't feel good. You know, it doesn't feel good, but it's really easy to get down and get, you know, negative. And you know, this past weekend or last weekend, not just past weekend, but last weekend, something too, y'all. My daughter is going to be playing. She's got softball. She plays softball. She's a good little ball player, and I'm gonna miss her game tomorrow. You know, so that kind of sucks. I'm actually getting a little upset about it right now, but it kind of sucks. So I don't like missing her games, but I got to fish this tournament. So that's that. This is the last one of the year. This is going to be the last tournament of the year for me. I'm not going to fish anymore probably after this weekend. You know, I'm going to still be putting out plenty of videos for y'all, but this is going to be the end of my tournament deal because I don't want to miss any of my daughter's games. But hopefully they bring home the win, and hopefully I bring home the win this weekend as well. So, missile D-bomb versus rage bug. So I prefer a rage bug, and you know, a lot of people like the D-bomb in place of, or you know, in place of the rage bug. And the only difference is the D-bomb doesn't have quite as much movement. So, in other words, I done thrown some stuff on my charging cable. I'm about to twist it out of the bottom of the phone. There we go. Okay. The only thing, you know, a D-bomb has a little bit less movement to it. So if you're flipping in hydrilla or, you know, something, maybe some vegetation or something like that, it has a faster fall and it doesn't have quite as many or quite as much flap to it to maybe grab a hydrilla or some grass. The rage bug does have a slower rate of fall because it has more appendages that move. So it puts off more vibration. A D-bomb would work a little bit better when the fish are probably in a little bit more of a negative mood, or if they're in a whole bunch of, like I said, hydrilla or, maybe even pads, stick stem lily pads, stuff like that. But you, you kind of have to weigh your options there on which would be better than the other. And for me, day in and day out, I believe that a rage bug is by far the best creature bait on the market. I think it's the best one made. I think it catches more fish. I think it has, good durability. It has excellent colors. And I just think the rage bug, personally, I think the rage bug day in and day out will catch more fish than any other creature bait out there. Now, a lot of people might have that opinion about another lure. They might have that opinion about a D-bomb or whatever. And I always tell people, make sure you're using whatever lure you have confidence in, because if you have confidence in it and you have more confidence in it than another creature bait, then you're going to catch more fish on whatever one you have more confidence in. So keep it with the colors you have confidence in, keep it with the baits you have confidence in, and you will catch more fish that way. 100%. You will catch more fish that way. So that's my thoughts on the rage bugs. And there's a bag full of rage bugs right there. Swamp water blue, blue crawl. I have a couple black and blue in there and black blue swirl, but day in and day out, the blue crawl and the swamp water blue are the colors that I'm going to use. So we're going to get whatever baits I don't think I'm going to use quite as much. I'm going to get them set in the back of this right here, and then we're going to kind of go from there. So I'm going to take the new baits. Well, let's see. What did I do with? Oh, here we go. All right, so we're going to put these back here first. What is that? Oh, and that's something else too. If y'all have an aluminum boat, these bad boys right here, moisture and odor eliminators right here, these Arm & Hammer ones. I'm trying to shake this stuff up. But the Arm & Hammer ones right here, they are absolutely awesome. They absorb the moisture in your compartments. They keep you from having any issues if the carpet gets wet inside your compartments. This right here will take care of it. In my soft plastic, in my compartment where I keep all my soft plastics, I get the fragrance free one. But in my rod locker and in the other one, I get it's the scented one. They're pretty strong scented, and I put them in there, and they keep it smelling fresh. And it's just, I don't know, it's good stuff. And this is the best one that I found. The moisture absorber and odor eliminator, I think, is the best one. So if you have an aluminum boat, be sure to check that out. Or even if you have a glass boat and you've been out in the rain and the inside of your compartments get wet or whatever, that is a really good option and a really good choice to put in your boat, because they work really, really good. So I'm going to put that back in there, put that off to the side. But we're going to get this in there. We're going to get our cross put in there, rage bugs. Let's see, this is swim baits. Then we got our straight tail worms and Cincos right here. And minnows, which I certainly hope I'm not throwing tomorrow. And then our toads, good old horny toads right there. I was able to go to the local store and pick up some of them. So we got a bag full of them in white. I got some black as well, but I needed white. I don't have a ton of black. Couple packs of black, but that's really all I need. All right, so we're good on that. So that's good to go. Let's read some of these right here. Thanks, throw Meps, comment minnow. Let's see. Meps comment. I've never thrown a Mepps Comet minnow. I've thrown a lot of Mepps inline spinners, but I've never specifically thrown the Comet minnow. That I know that thing's been around like forever. I know it has been. But I've thrown the inline spinner, like a rooster tail is like my favorite panfish bait ever. You can catch everything on them. And in old the Mepps, I don't even know how to say it. Is it Aguilera? Agula? I can't. I'm not 100% sure. But that Mepps #1 inline spinner, that thing is an awesome little bait. Oh, it's fire. You know what? That is a good. I've never thought of that before. Maybe I should buy a couple Comet minnows and put them in because I know they make bigger ones. You know, I might should keep one of those in the boat. Might be a cool little secret deal right there. Huh. Yeah, I might have to try that. Um, the compartments on the Rangers are big. The RT-188s have very, very big compartments on them, and I absolutely love them. They have a lot of room in them. So we're gonna get all the rods put back in the rod locker here. We're gonna have all of this nice and organized. All the spinning setups are gonna go in first because I hope I don't even have to touch these over the next 2 days. I don't want to have to touch a spinning rod at all. Let's see, where is, there it is. Okay, so so all 3 spinning setups are going to go right here on the right hand side. And I'll take my phone. I don't want to have it where y'all can't see me. I'm trying to move this back just a little bit more. But basically what I'm trying to do is whatever rods I don't think that I'm going to use quite as much, I'm kind of putting them down on the bottom. So I'm not just completely having to dig them out. But I already know what rods I want to have on the deck to start off with in the morning when I get them out. So I want to go ahead and kind of get these down in the bottom. And I don't like to put too much stuff on the deck of my boat, either, because a lot of times I think what you do is you end up confusing yourself, and you just don't want to have too much stuff, because then you look down at the deck of your boat and you're like, oh God, I got like, 15 rods up here. What the heck am I going to throw? And I think a lot of times you can mess yourself up by doing that. So I try not to get too much stuff on the deck of my boat and just like completely confusing myself. I try to make sure I don't let that happen. But pretty much now we're going to have all this on the deck in the morning, everything that I'm putting in here now. So I'm going to just get all this kind of put in here and we should be good to go. I got to get the motor oiled up. I got to get oil in the motor. Bought a brand new gallon today. We're probably going to burn some fuel this weekend. We're going to be doing some running, y'all. We are going to be doing some running. The Ranger is going to get some more miles on it. I looked at my odometer on my graph the other day. I bought this boat in 2020 and my motor has over 600 hours on it now. And I've ran, since I've had this graph on here, and I put this graph on here a year after I bought the boat, but I have driven this boat on the water, and this is only when the unit's on, and I turn it on when I get to the lake or river or whatever. But I've driven this boat on the water over 5,300 miles. This boat has run up and down rivers and lakes since basically 2021. So in the last 4 years, I do a lot of running. Always, especially in a tournament, I'm one of those guys where I'm going to go to wherever I think the best place is and wherever I think I have the best chance of catching them or the best chance at winning. And I'm gonna make some risky moves, and I might make a risky move tomorrow that I might pay for, or it might be the best move ever. You know, it just kind of depends. It all depends on the day. Sometimes the risks are worth it, and sometimes they're not worth it. And hopefully tomorrow the risks are going to be worth it. Hopefully so. But I'm going to show y'all the rod locker right here when I'm done. I don't know how much I'm going to throw the frog tomorrow. I'm probably going to throw it some, but tonight's supposed to be 48 degrees. But tomorrow is going to get up like in the mid 70s, kind of like what it is right now. It's pretty comfortable. A little bit hot sitting out here in the sun, actually. But let me show y'all the rod locker right there. So there's the rod locker loaded down. Have my tackle boxes, the 3700 Plano box. Well, they're not Planos, but they're the Walmart brand ones. But 3700 boxes right there and everything. So I'm gonna get this back set up here. All right. But yeah. So we got that ready to go. I got those other rods I'm gonna get out. I got to get this trash in this bag. I got to double check to make sure there's no trash in the live well. I'm almost positive that there's no trash in the live well. Let me get this a little bit closer here so I can see. Let's see. Agilia, yeah. So the water temp. So yesterday, the water temp was 69 is what they were yesterday. I imagine the lower Chowan that they're going to be a little bit warmer than that. I'm thinking 72-ish, 72, 73, I think is what we're probably going to be looking at. And, you know, I would actually love for them to be even cooler than that. And they might be cooler in the morning, you know, with tonight being a little bit lower than what it has been. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely expecting somewhere in the like I said, in the 72 degree range is kind of what I'm thinking. But I have not been. So I can't 100% say on that. Let's see. There's a black horny toad that's still good down there in the bottom of the boat. We're gonna save that for hard times, if y'all know what I mean. All right. This is trash right here. All right, so we got to get our cooler cleaned up and ready for tomorrow. But we're pretty good. I mean, I got to put oil in the motor. I have oil bath hubs on my trailer, and I do have one of my hubs is a little bit low, so I got to pull the tire off and get that put. Get some oil put in that hub right here in a few minutes, and I got to take the boat and get it fueled up. I've already fueled my Jeep up, so that's good to go. But I got to get the boat fueled up, so that's one thing that I got to do, and get that done. Like I said, get the motor filled up with oil, and I got to get this hub done as well. Let me get this box right here. Put this. It's got some top waters and stuff in it. Might not use any of them, but who knows? Never know. But yeah, I think we're good to go. I think we're pretty good shape. And like I said, we're gonna stay confident tomorrow. We're gonna stay, you know, just stay focused. Make sure that I'm not just fishing. You know, I'm just not out there fishing. You know, in tournaments, you got to be thinking about what you're doing, why you're doing it, what decisions you're making, you know, and you kind of got to go from there. You got to really make sure that you're making the right decisions and you don't get complacent and just get hung up just fishing and going through the motions, because if you do that, you can end up having a lot of time slip away from you, and you know, you're just fishing down a shoreline, whereas you could be pulling up, running somewhere else where there's some fish biting. So that's one thing that I definitely keep in mind, that I used to do a little bit when I was younger, is I would get a little complacent and just say, oh, well, they're not biting or whatever. Well, now I'm going to be moving. I want to be moving, and I want to be getting to fresh water. You get renewed confidence, and you know, you just get just a little jolt of confidence when you go to a new spot. And a lot of times when you pull up there, you will catch a fish, you'll catch a keeper, and it makes a big difference. So see, jerkbait should work. Yeah, jerkbait will work 100%. I actually caught a key fish on a jerkbait in that tournament I won on the Chowan earlier this year, a key 3.5 pounder. So it may come into play tomorrow. We'll see. You know, I already kind of got an idea of definitely what I want to do and how I want to catch them. But if that don't work out, then we'll do something. We'll do something else. So I appreciate it. Hopefully things work out. Hopefully things work out and I catch them. You know, I'm confident I'm going to put fish in the boat. I just got to put the right fish in the boat. That's the main thing. But the wind looks good. The wind direction looks good. Everything looks good. So I'm pretty excited about that. I am pretty excited about that. You know, I could clean the boat up. You know, I could give it a good wipe down and all. But I'm going to tell you, this old girl is going to be nasty. After tomorrow, I'm going to be, you know, the boat ramp is a dirt boat ramp anyway there at on the Chowan, so the boat's going to get dusty and all anyway. So I'm not too worried about giving her a good rub down before the tournament. The main thing is I want the inside to be clean. I want everything to be where I know it is. I want my compartments to be organized, which I have that pretty good now, and I just need everything to go right is what we need. We just need everything to go right. But I don't know. Let's see. Let's get some oil put in the motor. I'm gonna bring y'all back here with me. We'll get the motor oiled up real quick, and then I have to pull my boat back there to do my hub. So I'll probably end the video before I do that. But we're gonna turn this back to the motor, and we're gonna get some oil put in here. Got a fresh thing of Pennzoil here. We're gonna get some oil put in it. The old Optimax here. We got to get this bad boy oiled up, fill it up with oil, because like I said, we're going to be doing a little bit of running. I don't know how much yet, but we're definitely gonna do some running. So we're gonna get this filled all the way up. Some good old Pennzoil 2-stroke. Fill it up to the brim. Might run through this whole gallon. Might run through this whole gallon of oil. I overfilled that just a bit. Let's see if I can get it to go on down. There we go. Get that air bubble out of there. Yeah. Had a little air bubble in it. That's what caused it to. All right. There we go. I was like, wait a minute now. All right. Get this put in there. All right. The old Merc. Make sure, let's see. Yeah, we ain't got no oil sprayed in there. Just want to make sure didn't have any oil or anything all up under the cover. Make sure nothing's leaking. I always like to look for that. Just to make sure. On my older motor, I had the tank started leaking. It got a crack in the tank and it was leaking oil all on the inside of the motor, and I didn't realize it until later, and the whole inside of the motor was coated with oil. All right, we're good to go. plugs in. All right, we got this filled up with oil. And now I got to do my hub. So, like I said, I'm probably going to call it, and kind of just end this live before I do the hub, because I got to pull it down there, get it up on the jack real quick, and get some hub oil in it. That's one thing. Always grease your hubs. Always check your hubs. Like I said, these are oil bath hubs, so you have to make sure that you have plenty of oil in them. And if you forget about greasing your hubs and making sure they have oil in them, you're going to end up having a bad day. You're going to have a really bad day, because you're going to have a bearing go bad when you're pulling down the road running 70 mile per hour, and your tire's going to go flying off, and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get right and end this. And I'm just going to leave y'all with this before I go. If anybody is looking to support the channel a little bit more, there's 3 ways to do it. So either you can order some rod tie downs and different stuff I make from gfoutdoors.com. So that's my website, gfoutdoors.com. You can join the membership on YouTube. There's a little thing that says membership under there. I think it's like $5 a month. If you join, that money goes directly to the channel. It helps me out. Just throwing that out there. And then also, if you use links in the descriptions of my videos, so if you buy products using the Amazon links, or if you buy Golden Mate batteries, which I have a link in all my videos for, they're the batteries that I run in all my boats, the lithium batteries. And then also the Bass Pro link, Amazon links, all that stuff. If you buy using those links, it does help support the channel as well. So just leaving that out there. But I really appreciate everybody that has hung out with me while I've been out here, messing with the boat and getting everything ready. But I have a couple more things to do to get prepared. And I want to get to bed early tonight and have a clear mind, a well-rested mind tomorrow morning. And hopefully I can have a good day fishing, have a safe day fishing. Hopefully everybody catches fish, and, we just have a good day. That's all I want, is to have a good day on the water, catch some good ones, catch a good limit, and maybe we can pull off the win. The tournament starts tomorrow morning at 6:45. We fish 6:45 to 3:45 tomorrow afternoon. And then on Sunday, we fish from 6:45 to 3. So Sunday is a little bit shorter day than tomorrow. So tomorrow I do have about 45 minutes more time to fish. So just trying to weigh my options in my mind, figure out the exact game plan of where I want to go to start off with. That's definitely going to be a big deal. And, we'll figure it out as we fish. We'll figure it out as we go. And, we're going to fish hard, see what we can do. And maybe they'll be on the trees like I think they should be. And if they are on the trees, I think that we'll have a pretty good day. Yeah, I really think we'll have a pretty good day. And maybe we'll catch one on the old popper. Maybe the old popper will pull one up. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get this thing pulled down by the shed. I'm going to get this hub oil in that hub over there on the other side. And anyway, I just hope y'all have a good day, good rest of the day. Be safe. Have a good Friday night, and wish me luck. Thank y'all.